In life, the consistent man wins. The one who has the most raw talent and raw skill. Oftentimes, that person, even though they live a life where they're better than most, there's a difference between good and great. And I believe the difference between good and great is not tangible. It's intangible. It's the level of discipline and consistency that person has that others do not exemplify. And I love to talk about Kobe Bryant when speaking of consistency because Kobe Bryant was the epitome of somebody who was obsessed. And obsession and success oftentimes go hand in hand because it takes a level of obsession to think outside of the box and do things differently, make sacrifices that ends up resulting in success, whether we know it or not. And Kobe Bryant, coming out of New Jersey for high school, he may have been the best in his region, but he realized once he got to the NBA, what got him to where he wasn't going to get him to where he wanted to go. And I always have to commend when people realize that because that's when the obsession kicks in. When you realize that your raw talent isn't good enough. Even though it's a blessing to be given and implanted these abilities and skills from God, we have to take what he's given us and we have to refine them. We have to relentlessly and consistently work on whatever it is so we can make sure we are being a return on investment for God. God wants us to be returns on investment. Look in the book of Matthew 25 and the parable of talents. You had one who had five, one who had two, and one that was given a singular talent. The first two, they multiplied what they had and God blessed them. But the one who sat on what he had and didn't do anything with it, even what he had, the singular talent was given to somebody else. And the world operates in a similar fashion. If we don't take what we're good at, refine it, and be relentless in our pursuit, unfortunately, what we have is going to soon be somebody else's. We need to refine what we have because today it's not where it needs to be for us to live our life of abundance. And that picture that I just painted there brings me to this last point I wanted to touch on. Where we are today is a direct reflection of the actions we have taken in the past. But where we want to go is a direct reflection of what we're doing today. We have to ask ourselves, do we really want to be successful? Because being successful comes with a level of discomfort. And discomfort at times can discourage people. But discomfort ultimately is what's going to build that character because discomfort separates the great from the good because you can be good at what it is that you're doing. You can be good, but if you want to be great, you're going to have to make sacrifices because the difference between the good and the great is going to show up regardless of the circumstance. There's going to be days when you're sick. Ask yourself, do you want to be good or do you want to be great? Are you going to show up those days when you're sick? The days when you don't feel like doing what it is that you know you're supposed to do. There's going to be days when you're battling with things that are internal that you can't control. But are you going to show up and do what you're called to do? And there's going to be days when you're fighting with family. And in these times, we figure out what separates those who are good from those who are great. The person who is solely good is going to allow those circumstances to cast off the responsibilities to a later day. But the person who is great is going to show up regardless of how they feel because they know deep down they have a purpose and a reason for doing this. And there's nothing that can stop that purpose. There's nothing that can stop that person's momentum. That person is going to win. That person is our competition. Yes, we do have competition primarily with the man in the mirror, but we have to understand that there's people out there that want that life that we want to live. From the type of car we drive, from the lot that we live on, from the woman that we want to one day call our wife, there's somebody out there that wants exactly that life that you want. But what's going to be the separation between you and him? That's the $1,000,000 question that we must ask ourselves. And oftentimes the answer is going to require consistency. Consistent action is how we'll outlive, outlast, outplan, and outstrategize our competition. Consistency.